The cold December air over the Taiwan Strait is thick with tension. It's the last day of 2025, a year overshadowed by the threat of war. Below, Chinese warships, Beijing's most advanced, form a steel line across the waves. This is no drill, it's the climax of months of military escalation. Chinese fighter jets now cross the strait's median line daily, erasing what was once an unofficial border. Warships conduct joint sword exercises, simulating a blockade and rehearsing an invasion. For Taiwan's 24 million people, this is not a simulation, it's a looming reality. In Taipei, life continues, but anxiety simmers beneath the surface. Air raid sirens are tested more often. News channels show maps with red arrows closing in. Citizens receive alerts about Chinese military movements. The government urges calm, but warns to be prepared. The question is no longer if China will act, but when. The world is watching. In Tokyo and Washington, military planners are on high alert. U.S. aircraft carriers patrol nearby waters. Japan raises its defense readiness. The Taiwan Strait is a vital shipping lane. Any conflict here would ripple across the global economy. This is not just a local standoff. It's a crisis with worldwide stakes. Nations may soon be forced to choose sides. The dragon's shadow stretches across the Indo-Pacific, threatening decades of peace. The tension is palpable, the stakes higher than ever. Every move is scrutinized, every signal analyzed. The world holds its breath, waiting for the next move. The peace of the region hangs by a thread. The countdown to crisis has begun. China's campaign is relentless, a strategy of pressure designed to erode Taiwan's will to resist. This is gray zone warfare, constant military presence, psychological intimidation, and economic coercion. Warships and jets crowd the strait, drills grow more complex, and blockades are rehearsed. China practices missile strikes on key Taiwanese targets, testing both its own capabilities and Taiwan's defenses. Economic pressure mounts, bans on Taiwanese imports, diplomatic isolation, and disinformation campaigns sow division. Beijing's goal: weaken Taiwan from within, making resistance seem futile. Every move tests the resolve of Taiwan, the US and Japan. How far can China push before provoking a global response? By normalizing aggression, Beijing hopes its opponents will eventually back down. It's a dangerous game of brinkmanship. The world is watching to see who blinks first. The iron fist tightens, daring Taiwan and its allies to respond. The stakes, the future of the region's balance of power. The pressure is mounting, and the clock is ticking. Will Taiwan stand firm, or will the world let the status quo slip away? For Taiwan, the threat is a constant hum in daily life. Air raid sirens interrupt school runs. Families wonder if it's a drill or the real thing. Drills and civil defense training are now routine. Everyone knows where the nearest shelter is. Volunteer groups teach first aid. Supermarket shelves empty as people stock up. Soldiers are a common sight, a reminder of readiness. Yet defiance grows alongside fear. Taiwanese flags fly proudly. Young people vow to defend their democracy. The pressure from Beijing has only strengthened their resolve. Living under threat is exhausting, but it has forged a unique resilience. Families debate whether to stay or go, but most choose to stand their ground. The sirens are a sad soundtrack, but life goes on. This is what it means to be Taiwanese in 2025. Anxious, proud, and unbroken. Their strength is tested daily, but their spirit endures. The US and Japan watch China's moves with growing alarm. US warships patrol the strait, signaling commitment to regional stability. Each American passage is shadowed by Chinese vessels, raising tensions. Japan, Taiwan's closest neighbor, faces direct security risks and has bolstered its southern defenses. Tokyo and Washington coordinate closely, sharing intelligence and planning for crisis scenarios. The US accelerates arms sales to Taiwan, aiming to make it a porcupine, too tough to attack. Both allies walk a tightrope to deter China without provoking war. Beijing accuses them of interference, escalating the cycle. As support for Taiwan grows, so does China's aggression. The line between deterrence and provocation is razor thin. Today's crisis is rooted in history. In 1949, China's civil war split the nation. Communists took the mainland, nationalists fled to Taiwan. Both claimed to be the true China, creating decades of tension. The US once backed Taiwan, signing a defense treaty and recognizing Taipei as China's government. In the 1970s, US policy shifted. Washington recognized Beijing, but passed the Taiwan Relations Act to keep supporting Taiwan's defense. This led to strategic ambiguity. The US wouldn't say, if it would defend Taiwan, hoping to deter both sides from risky moves. For years, this balance kept the peace, but as China's power grows, ambiguity is failing. Beijing is emboldened, Taiwan is more vulnerable. The old rules no longer hold. The region's fragile peace is under threat. History's unresolved questions are now urgent challenges. The world faces a crisis decades in the making. The stakes have never been higher. Strategic ambiguity is under strain. For decades, the US avoided a clear promise to defend Taiwan, hoping to prevent war, but China's growing power has made this policy less effective. Some in Washington now call for strategic clarity, a public pledge to defend Taiwan. Supporters say a clear red line would deter China. Critics warn it could provoke conflict. Beijing sees any US guarantee as a threat, a possible trigger for war. Recent US statements have blurred the line, moving away from ambiguity. The old policy is fading, but no new strategy has taken its place. This uncertainty is dangerous. Miscalculation could spark disaster. The world waits to see if clarity or confusion will define America's next move. The stakes, peace or war in the Pacific. Why does Taiwan matter so much? For China, it's about history, nationalism, and completing the Civil War's unfinished business. Reunification is a core goal for the Communist Party and President Xi Jinping. Strategically, Taiwan sits in the first island chain, blocking China's navy from the Pacific. Control of Taiwan would shift Asia's balance of power, threatening US allies and interests. For the US, Taiwan is a beacon of democracy and a test of American credibility. Losing Taiwan would embolden authoritarianism and shake allies' trust in US security guarantees. Economically, Taiwan is a tech superpower. Its semiconductor industry powers the world's devices. Disruption here would trigger a global crisis, far worse than recent supply chain shocks. Taiwan's security is global stability. The island's fate will shape the 21st century. The world cannot afford to look away. A full-scale invasion of Taiwan would be risky and costly for China. Instead, a blockade is more likely, and just as dangerous. China could surround Taiwan with warships and aircraft, declaring a quarantine and cutting off vital imports. Taiwan, dependent on outside supplies, would face shortages and economic collapse. The goal forced surrender without a land battle. For the US and allies, breaking a blockade risks direct conflict. Doing nothing means abandoning Taiwan. It's a strategic dilemma, with no easy answers. China would likely combine the blockade with cyber attacks, crippling Taiwan's infrastructure. The psychological and economic pressure would be immense. This chokehold could win Taiwan without a shot fired. The world would be forced to respond, or watch a democracy suffocate. The stakes, credibility, stability, and the future of the region. The clock is ticking on Taiwan's survival. As 2025 ends, the world stands on the edge of catastrophe. War over Taiwan would be devastating. Millions of lives, global trade, and the world economy at risk. The Taiwan Strait is a vital artery. Conflict here would shatter supply chains and plunge economies into crisis. The loss of Taiwan's semiconductor industry would set back technology for years. The cost of war would be paid by all, everywhere. This is a moment for urgent diplomacy. Washington and Beijing must keep talking, seeking off-ramps from escalation. Leaders must look beyond rivalry to avoid disaster. The fate of 24 million Taiwanese and the world's peace hangs in the balance. Taiwan's people want only to choose their own future, not become a battlefield. The world has a moral duty to support a peaceful solution. The alternative is a tragedy that would scar the century. The window for peace is closing fast.